Welcome to this channel. So in the previous video, I have shared that most Chinese in the past 100 years have lost the traditional center of the ancient Chinese culture. And that applies to the traditional Chinese martial arts. And it is because of this loss of traditional center of Chinese martial art, we have this mess today in traditional Chinese martial arts. See, the traditional center of ancient traditional Chinese martial art is momentum and the specific training or the functional training in today's language, or the specific sport or style training of that particular martial art style. So say it again, the traditional center of the ancient traditional Chinese martial art is the momentum, the unique momentum of the particular style, supported by the functional training of that particular style. That is the traditional center of ancient traditional Chinese martial arts. Without this not knowing the uniqueness of the style of martial arts and the functional training, or the, in today's language, functional training or sport specific or specific sport training for that style, or supporting that style's uniqueness in momentum, all techniques will never work as what it intended to. So techniques is useless if one do not know the uniqueness momentum of the particular style and do not have the functional training or the specific style or sport training which support the momentum of that particular style. Okay? This is the bottom line. Look at this past 80 years or so. What happened? Tai Chi and internal, due to their propaganda and marketing, many Chinese today, many traditional Chinese martial artists today, thinking Tai Chi or internal is the traditional center of all traditional Chinese martial arts. So that's why everybody want to study Chen Tai Chi, real shook, Zhan Zhuang, all sort of stuff, because they thought that those are the most advanced, those are the center of the entire traditional Chinese martial arts, and they end up screw everybody. And if you look at today, even Tai Chi, how many really know what is the uniqueness of the Tai Chi in a real fight? Or in other words, what is the momentum? Have you ever seen using Tai Chi in a real fight? Like fighting Xi Xiaodong? What is the momentum type? Well, so all this internal Qi, internal Jing, all this, it is a mess, a disaster, and it is exactly where the disaster is, where the root of disaster is. Okay? So, if one wants to get back to the proper traditional center of the ancient traditional Chinese martial art of every style, one need to get rid of this internal Tai Chi is everything, is ultimate type of thinking. Those stuff are a propaganda and marketing for past 100 years. And that is the guy or the source which screw everybody up. Okay? Now, let's look into the example in the southern side. Tai Chi and those is on the northern side. Actually, it got nothing to do with us in the southern side. In the southern side, say Ngo Zhou, in the previous video I shared that they have their Ngo Ki Lat functional training, okay, strength and the functional training, the Ngo Zhou, okay, and in the Choi Lei Fat, okay, which is a proven in history, a real combat art, have their basic, which is the So Gua Chat, which support by their functional training. So it's very basic. Choi Lei Fat, their momentum type, their So Gua Chat, that is the uniqueness of momentum, and they have to support by the functional training or specific training for their handling of momentum. Okay? So this is how it is. If you want to make clear what it is for the traditional center of traditional Chinese martial art, you don't want to get the Choi Lei Fat mixed with the Tai Chi, whatever. Okay? If you do that, you're going to screw other arts. You're going to screw the Choi Lei Fat. The same thing. You don't want to put Tai Chi into the Wing Chun, which is a short strike art. If you do that, you screw Wing Chun completely. Okay? Same thing, you don't want to put this Tai Chi, real shirk, Chi from K1 and all those things into Ngo Zhou Kun. You're going to screw Ngo Zhou. Because the bottom line is Tai Chi never ever ever is the center of the ancient traditional Chinese martial art. It never is. It's just a style called Tai Chi, and they promote the entire thing and then using the philosophy of the Chinese and then make it look like it is, but it is not. So Xi Xiaodong have proved it to you. What is the momentum? Look at, say, Choi Lei Fat, okay? The So Gua Chat. You look at how is the momentum. So this is the truth. And you look at like Ngo Zhou, like in the other video I've shared, they have written clearly their Ngo Ki Lat, their training. Choi Lei Fat, they have their momentum type, their functional training type. That's why they have that continuous momentum play in their uniqueness, be it in Choi Lei Fat or in other traditional Chinese martial arts. Okay? Now, as for the short strike Wing Chun, there is the reason I wrote the restricting Wing Chun. Based on the Shaolin short strike, you have the functional training and the momentum. Okay, it's clearly making down there, and then the training based on this. Okay, and also the multi-directional strength training, which is in the restricting Wing Chun. And also the 2C, the breathing development in today's way, using technology. Without this, there is no short strike Wing Chun. Let's not kidding ourselves. Okay? There is none. Because the Wing Chun without that, the short strike Wing Chun, I need to be clear there, clear here, make it really clear. This is not talking about the 1960 Wing Chun where it is a different thing. The ancient 1850s Wing Chun or the Shaolin short strike Wing Chun. Without that, nothing will work. No sets will work. The 1850 Xiu Lim Tao set, without that, it never works. The techniques never works because everything has to base on the momentum, uniqueness, and the functional training or the sport-specific training which supporting the momentum. Condition the body so that all the techniques be able to making sense. Okay? So that is what it is. And in the southern of China, you see that for decades, people taking this Tai Chi stuff, internal stuff as the ultimate and try to make it the core of the arts. For example, look at Wing Chun. How many people are just using those in the past 80 years? So, there is a reason I introduce or I share this Red Boat training band, which I design, which I create to every Wing Chuners who like to practice the real or the true 1850s short strike Wing Chun. You want to practice the momentum. You want to practice the multi-directional force or strength at the close range. That is the Wing Chun uniqueness in terms of momentum and functional training. Without that, what do short strike Wing Chun have? See, as I mentioned, like Chua Lei Fat, this is very simple for their basic. They are so gua cha. They have the entire thing complete. What does your 1850s Wing Chun have? Without this, how is you going to get close? How is your keizang, your strike is going to be effective? Without that, you don't have an art. Just face it, we don't have an art. Because there is no momentum descriptions and no functional training descriptions. And there's no training, nobody knows what it is. And that's why in today's world, you can see like Tan Sao. You get 5 people, 10 people, 10 people have the 10 idea of Tan Sao. But once you train in the momentum of the short strike, the Shaolin short strike, the multi-directional strength, as described in the Shaolin Canon, which is translated for you now in the Restricting Wing Chun. Then you make the art alive. The momentum and everything alive. Then you know your Tan Sao must go in like that. You never do a Tan Sao this way or pushing it out and all those kind of stuff. Tan Sao you always have to get in. Because that is the short strike. Momentum handling uniqueness, and because your body is developed or conditions for handling the uniqueness of short strike momentum and the multi-directional force, Tan Sao do not have hundreds of interpretations or belief or idea, this way, this no. Tan Sao is coming in, you get in. Why? The bottom line of a short strike art is you want to shoot in and feel in. If you cannot shoot in and feel in, game's over. Okay? So every art is unique momentum and unique functional training. And that's why, again, in Restricting Wing Chun, I pull out all this functional training and everything here, using today's language and using today's tools to train that. Without that, let's not kidding ourselves. There's no 1850s Wing Chun, period. Okay? Years ago, many people claim that they are the grandmaster of the 1850s Wing Chun and so forth, so forth. What to claim? Anybody who know about ancient Chinese culture, who know the issue of the traditional center, will just scan at you, screen at you. What do you have? What do you have in your body? Not about who is the best fighter, okay? Do you really practice that type of art or develop that type of art? And that is also the reason why in Chinese martial art today, everybody complains. You practice one thing, and then when you go to have a combat, then you fight like a Western boxer or whatever way, or a Thai boxer. Why? Because one never trained in the uniqueness of that style. One never have developed their body with the functional training. You face it today, the judo friends of us is going to train their way of handling momentum and their functional training. Our Choi Lei Fat friend do the same thing. So what is your Wing Chun do? So this applies to all traditional Chinese martial art. As soon as they are lost, they start to put in many things and believe in this Tai Chi stuff and that. And it ends up like today. So it is, most people have lost their traditional center of traditional Chinese martial arts. You cannot save that. It is already like that, unless you get a reform. You look at like the last time I mentioned the late scholar Mr. Nan Huaiji. For a lifetime he tried to restore things. But what happened? Still people going their own way.